Hello, my name is Ethan, and welcome back to another episode of Path of Exile Scourge League 3.16. Do you want to be immune to elemental ailments? So do I. So what I did here is I got 100% immune to Ignite, Chill, Freeze, and Shock. But what I did is we reduced the duration of these by 100%. So there is no duration of these, so they don't exist. So what I did is I got 50% reduced elemental ailment duration on you from the glove and the boot. Sick. Also, do you guys want 84 chaos running a Xibaqua, where half of the elemental damage is taken against your chaos damage, chaos res, and you have the 84 chaos res, so you are actually super chunky with 4,000 life and the same damage? Oh my god. I upload every day. Please like and subscribe. So basically, from what I found for now, the only downside to this reduced duration is that shock ground, chill ground doesn't work, but we're immune to chill ground because we have Garba of the ephemeral. We can't have action speed slow, and then shock ground, we're not hardcore, so we'll just avoid the shock ground, and if it happens, it happens. It's not going to come up that often. I think it will come up more in delving, where I can't really reroll the mod right, where I can avoid that in mapping. I'm not really going to see it. It doesn't really matter, but in delving, that might come up, so we might change our build later. But for now, this is 100% ailment immunity for so cheap, and it's twice as strong as avoiding elemental ailment, because you could get 25% on the implicit for avoid elemental ailments, but it's 50% the same implicit with reduced duration. So this is twice as strong for the same mod, and you'll only have to get two, and then we have, yeah, this is so, two things did elemental ailment, what the heck? To show you the next thing, solipsism is the reason I found this. So I was looking at Magebane, and I was like, I want to go spell suppression with our evasion and our armor and everything. I want to then suppress the spells, because half damage from spells is really good. And I was like, we can get 10 spell suppression here and 10 spell suppression here, and our decks, we don't even have that much. And then I was like, well, what does the int one do? Because there's the strength ones, there's the dex one, and I was like, well, we have all this int, what does it do? I read it. Reduced duration of elemental elements on you per intelligence. And so I was like, wait, I can get 36% for 270 intelligence? That's a lot. Until I found that you could get 50% on the glove and boot, which clearly this is completely insane. It goes from 36 to 50. So this was literally as much as what? And then so I realized something else. So the reason this was really good for us is because we don't use the ES from the intelligence, and so we could give it up and it doesn't even matter. That's hilarious. So this was just pure upside, and it was just a keystone. Getting here was like 3 points. It didn't seem that bad for 36% reduced elemental ailment duration on us. And then viewer pointed out that you can get keystones on the Skin of the Lords with a +2. So the +2 is as good as our body armor. The 100% increased global defenses is really good with determination. You can also run it with grace, and then you have literally 1 billion armor and evasion, and you're super tanky because of the increased global defenses. It buffs up the determination and grace. And then you have to get the right colors, because you can't change them, by the way. And you have to use corrupted gems in this, so I had to corrupt all my gems. But basically this gave us solipsism, and it was as good as our astral blade. Without the life, obviously, and it was actually pretty cheap too. It was actually cheaper than our chest plate, and it came with the keystone, and the keystone was actually buffing up our solipsism. So I'm actually selling it, and you can tell I listed this chest plate 3.5, and then this is only 1.6 right now. So for what it does is really powerful, and you don't need the ES, so you can use this chest plate if you haven't upgraded to the astral plate yet. This is just a thing, so putting this out here, if you can't get the full 100% through the glove and just the boot, because they might be hard to find after this video, is all I'm saying. And then there's also ghastly jewels with reduced elemental ailment duration on you, so you can get this 7%. That's really cool. There's a helmet one and a body armor and a shield, but we have influence gear, therefore you can't get the influence and the synthesis implicit. The helmet, elder influence, you can't do it, so it's good for the jewels and the glove and the boot, because we're not doing influences right now. The glove never really goes influence. The only thing we do is like craft minion damage for 20. We don't want to go influence just for the 30 minion damage. I'd much rather get a synthesis implicit or a fracture. That's way better, probably. And then yeah, here synthesis because we didn't have to go an influence for avoid ailments or something with Shaper like we used to do. It's a 50% for free. It's the same boot and the same glove that I had, but now, oh my god, it's insane. Okay, so now to get into the second part, I replaced the flasks. These were my old ones. This was useless, but just, oh sorry, this one was useless. I had a chance to avoid chill and frozen. It's useless because I had also in the same build immune to freeze. So I was already immune to freeze, so why would I need to... So I rolled this flask just for the duration. It's 11-second ruby flask. It's insane. This one is a 6-second poison immune ruby flask. It's not as good because I'd much rather it just be up for the volatile flamebloods in Blight. But basically, we're elemental ailment immune, so we don't need the shock or the freeze. So what did I do instead? The granite became evasion. It should probably be armor. And the jade is armor, and it should probably be evasion, but they were cheaper to buy it like this because who the hell does their flasks like this? But when you use them together, it's the same thing. But when I swap into my non-AFK Blight build, I'll show you here, then it's actually troll. I don't have evasion, and so the mod on the granite is shitty, and I would much rather have the jade flask increased armor. Which actually, wait, let me see something. 15,000. I did both at the same... Does that actually count both at the same time, or is that one just insane? Jade Flask is insane. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. The increased armor mod is nutty with the determination, and so I would rather have the increased armor on the granite, but it was more expensive. I went for the budget. Together, they're just as powerful, and it was cheaper. And then... yeah, I still kept the ruby with the avoid, chill, and frozen just because I like the uptime for the duration. It was just for duration. The extra mod didn't matter. It could be anything. There was like stun and block recovery. There was move speed. There's elemental res. Bunch of stuff. Then we have the block and stun recovery mod because I was like, wait, you can roll. Look at this. This is T2. 74% stun and block recovery, so you're basically stun immune with this flask on, and it's a 9-second flask. What? And this is the one I want up all the time when I'm mapping, because phasing, if my phase run is unreliable, maybe, for example, let's say it messes me up because of the frenzy charges not happening and I don't get the second, like the increased duration for the phasing, then having this 9-second duration quartz flask for the phasing is nice, with the chance to suppress spell damage is nice, and then I'm stun immune too in just a flask, which would normally be like unwavering stance, and you can't dodge or you can't evade, which means you can't run evasion, which is very important this season with the Jade Flask and the blind that we're doing, and the Dread Banner decreasing the accuracy of the enemies. So yeah, that's the full elemental ailment immunity thing, all the stuff I did for that, and all the options you have. It's very cool, and now I'll get into Xibaqua. Before I explain this glorious vanity, it's a 1.1 to 1.2x jewel right now, so public service announcement. Alright, back to the basics. Come into this, we have a timeless jewel. What's a timeless jewel? We have this red thing. There's like 5 of them. The only one you want to care about this time, right now, is this glorious vanity. Yes, there's so many other cool ones we could be using, but right now, let's just look at this as a tank option, okay? Imagine we don't care about the rest and we just want tank. So this, when you have it, you can hold Alt and you see it says numbers, and then it has on the right, Ahuana to Xibaqua. So there's Xibaqua. That's how I say it. I don't know if it's right. And so Xibaqua is the one we want. How you change this, you could either buy it as Xibaqua, looking for this specifically, or you can use Divine Orbs. And when you Divine Orb it, it changes it. So the number, when you get it, you can look on trade, technically. This is a thing. This is the exact one I have, 2433 of Xibaqua. If you technically looked on trade for this, and there was another one, and you found it, it would be this exact one. But I don't know why you would do that, because mine's not very good. Like I showed you, it's like avoid elemental ailments and cold res. there's nothing really. There's some spell suppression and some spell block and weird stuff around me, evasion and cold res, but there's nothing insane where I'm like, this is broken, right? I want some disgusting stuff on this. I'll look up what we can get, and then we'll maybe go for it later, like divining, because you just need to get the Xibaqua, and then the rest of these are free, because this is the travel nodes being converted into corrupted mods. And so you don't need this exact number, my point. You can have any number between 100 and 8,000, and yours will be different, but you will have, because you have Xibaqua, it guarantees you the keystone. Now, the keystone is what we're doing. This keystone, Divine Flesh, we've played with this before. This used to give, back in the day, 10 max Chaos Res. Now it's 5. All damage taken bypasses Energy Shield. As mentioned previously in this video, we don't use Energy Shield. We are willing to give up the Energy Shield bonus from the intelligence to get the reduced duration of elemental ailments. That's really cool. And so then this making damage bypass the Energy Shield, well, we only had 100, it's irrelevant, so that's good. And then you have 50% of elemental damage taken as chaos. And we have 5 max chaos, so we went to 80 chaos, but I'm at 84. And so I also went this 3% max chaos res small cluster jewel born of chaos. So it's a small cluster jewel, 2 passive. This one is specifically item level 73. It has born of chaos. I looked for life and dex. These I found. Oh my god, I haven't looked at smalls in a long time. I love jewels so much, but smalls are fucking broken. So apparently you can roll like 14 life, 14 strength, and like 8 attributes, and each small passive would have this. So just mine alone right here is 5 life, 12 chaos res, 7 dex. I'm imagining some disgusting small cluster jewels possible, and I'm actually willing to use them this time. And so I'm seeing a universe where we could go to 90 chaos res in this build. And then so the idea is, I'll show you guys something here. One sec. Instead of doing the math, it's 30% damage reduction if you had 90 chaos res with the Xibaqua. So those quick maths basically show you that on average, it would be like if you're getting LE, then the LE is being reduced by 30% if you go to 90 chaos, which is really powerful. And that's just the small clusters, which I'm telling you that the small clusters could actually be beneficial because we're having a season where life seems to be kind of difficult, where small clusters have 1 billion life and strength and attributes, which is a lot of life, which seems insane. And then this is your chaos res too, and then your max chaos. So that's pretty nice. I'm very interested in this. This is exciting. Even at 84, I'm already feeling really happy with it. And then I got an extra 1 max chaos res because this is kind of lucky. I got a megalomaniac, and it had both the destructive aspect and this anti-venom, and I had already planned to do the divine flesh. So basically, the destructive aspect, this is the mana reservation I need for the pride to run the determination. And normally I tell people to get this on a small cluster because the megalomaniacs can be rare. I can't guarantee that they can get something like this, where I got this, so I have the pride reservation, and then anti-venom extra 1 max chaos res, so we went to 84. I eventually will switch away from this, and I'll probably try to fit in the stuff either with a small of destructive aspect, because I think that the small clusters are insane if you can craft them perfect. They're really expensive to craft because they take item level 84, and then you have to roll them, and they're really rare. They're really hard to roll, so it'd be hard to craft one. But if you have them, oh my god, it's so much power. It's gonna beat this. 2 passive notable of just small things is not gonna be better than a small. Yeah, that's my opinion. So yeah, I'm gonna be switching to more of these smalls. With my current 84 chaos res, it's 18% damage reduction for elemental. It's sick. Another benefit that I thought of this is that I was only talking about the elemental, and now the super benefit, like you're not going CI and you still become like a god to chaos. So we're basically immune after to chaos. Poison's a joke. We basically had to completely ignore it, and then we can even start to do things like I started to think of. Well, we have 84 chaos sitting here. We can start using this. So there's a hunter mod on a chest plate. You can go hunter mod on a chest plate for phys to chaos, 15%, and it can go all the way up to 18% with the Maven orb. So that's a lot of phys taken as chaos, and the chaos is 84. That would be extremely powerful and if we took it to 90, we're only taking 10% damage of the 15, so it's 1.5%. What an insane situation. It's so powerful. I'm really excited. This season's insane. And then I also decided, because I lost the 3 life here, because they get corrupted because of the Xibaqua. I have to mention this. There's more stuff because of Xibaqua. I went down here and I grabbed this jewel socket because I wanted to fit in an extra Born of Chaos. And then I also took out some of the life down here and put it here because it was more efficient to get the big fat increased life, the aura effect, the strength, instead of this life with the armor. We already have a lot of armor. I also got this jewel socket because we had to add in the timeless jewel. We had to add two jewel sockets, so we added this one and this one. And yeah, we've been able to fit all this in. It's actually insane. The only thing I question about giving up is giving up this 8% phys damage reduction, because it's actually pretty big. That's one of the biggest weaknesses of our minions, and I gave that up. But I think they will be okay in the current situation. Yeah, so that's the swap to Xibaqua and why I did it, and it is already a big damage. I should calculate what it is already for you guys. And so then you would ask, well, what did this take? Basically, really, it's a jewel socket, 1 point, and then we can actually get good pathing too. Like we can get fine pathing, and then it would be 18% elemental damage reduction and potentially 36%. I guess it's double. I guess it might not be, but then that's really effective for what we spent, and a small cluster, which actually is nice. And then we can actually dip into this even more. Like we can just go even more down this Xibaqua Divine Flesh rabbit hole. It's pretty fun. So now I thought I'd give my conclusion. So I thought this is really powerful to get ailment immunity with just 2 implicits on my gloves and boots. That doesn't even change what I have on them. It's not a mod fighting for the life or the reses or move speed. And then so that's like insane. And even going potentially the other body armor instead, doing the solipsism instead of my body armor with the +2 skin of the lords, if you have the right colors, this is really powerful too, because this with determination and molten shell is really strong. And then you also have the other ways of getting the reduced elemental ailment duration, and then being able to change our flask now that we're immune to elemental ailments. And then the Xibaqua thing, being able to be tankier. Like I've already tried it. Like, oh my god, I'm so much tankier. I'm alking. I have a billion mods. Technically, minus elemental max res and like LE weakness, and these things are going to be less important because half of the damage it goes to my chaos, which is 84, which doesn't get reduced. They can't reduce my chaos res. And what else is nice is like when you fight bosses that have penetrate, Shaper Balls have cold pen, Atziri has fire pen. This is going to be really good because she's going to try to penetrate, but half of the damage goes to your chaos, which is 84. It's disgusting for survivability against so many things in the game. Xibaqua is insane. I really like this, and then I've even thought of an extra bonus benefit. Whoa! At the end, extra side. I bet you guys have already thought of it, and people were already commenting it, and they'll comment it, and they won't know that I said it in the video because it was at the end. Forbidden Taste makes you take 25% of your life as chaos damage per second, so it would be like 1,000 per second. But then if I can go up to 90 chaos res, I'm only taking 100 damage a second to heal all of my life instantly. And then the benefit, I've shown people this before and I'll show it again. Oh god. you can use when you take a savage hit, and you're like, what's a savage hit? So a savage hit is when you take, I believe it's 15% of your life in a single hit, which is quite a lot. And so then this is like saying, instantly heal automatically 15% of your life, and it can happen twice. And it's on trigger perfectly when you want it. So if the volatile flame blood and blight hits you, this full heals you and saves you, because it'll stop you from getting comboed, which is really powerful. And then it'll come right back up because blight's insane. So this is probably going to be a thing to help. I already can survive in T16 blight, but this would help the consistency, because I bet in 1 in 100 maps I might find 1 or 2 that I can't do. So then of like survivability, I still need more damage, but yeah, this is looking really good. And Forbidden Taste can fit into this. So those are all overall my conclusions. I think this is all extremely worth it, and there's other ways to go elemental ailment immunity, obviously, but this is what I chose. I found it really cheap, and the Xibaqua tankiness was really easy and fit so well into our build, and was, again, very cheap. This season's insane. Now I'm going to take this opportunity to thank my Patreon, my YouTube members who financially support the channel. I can't do this without you guys, so thank you guys for all the support, and thank you to anyone who joins the Patreon and the YouTube members today, and I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!